Help support AMTV by becoming a patron, an AMTV staff member, and following us over on Twitter.
You're watching Southern Television, where at 6 o'clock the Day by Day team take us day by yesterday. First of all, time to go over to ITN for the latest national and international news.
When TV channels close down for good, for the most part these days, not much is made of the moment. You may get a static slide thanking you for viewing, and that's about it. But back in the 20th century, if a television channel was to cease broadcasting, you best believe it was made out to be a big deal. The various companies that made up the ITV network did this in a rather interesting fashion. For ITV as a whole, wasn't ceasing broadcasts. Moreover, through ruthless financial rounds, different companies would instead come in and win over the Independent Broadcasting Authority, or IBA, and thus gain control of the licence to broadcast in a particular region. At the dawn of the 1980s, a new franchise round took place, and Southern Television, who had been operating on a mostly comfortable basis since 1958, weren't sweating too much. They had a main competitor, Television South, or TVS, who were putting every effort into making their pitch to the IBA. Southern's initial pitch was just 16 pages long. Despite proving they could produce successful programmes, including local ones, Southern would end up losing the franchise to TVS. Speculation was afoot that Southern had merely submitted the tried and tested method that they built upon for decades. Well, surely that is a good thing, right? After more than 20 years on the air, surely that has to stand for something. Well, aside from the stock announcement from the IBA claiming that they believed TVS could offer more investment and a better variety of programming, it was believed that the IBA felt Southern's tested methods wouldn't represent the evolution of the area as the 80s went along. This is all speculation, of course, but one way or the other, Southern would be out and TVS would be in.
On December the 28th, 1980, Lady Plowden, the outgoing chairman of the Independent Broadcasting Authority, announced a major change of direction for television in the south of England. An 8-year licence to broadcast was granted to TVS, a new company to replace Southern Television, who'd been responsible for commercial television in the south of England since 1957.
Were you surprised?
Oh yes, too damn right.
As a relative newcomer, my impression is that the daily news programmes, the programmes we do for the network, our arts programmes are first rate, and that on the basis of programming, there's no reason to take the licence away.
And what do you think about Southern losing the contract? Got any jobs going at your place?
As the end drew near, earmarked for the beginning of New Year's Day, 1982, staff at Southern were unsurprisingly saddened at the news. Many personnel had been with the company for years, even decades. So, to have what felt like the rug pulled from underneath their feet must have understandably hit hard. Higher management at Southern appeared to be more venomous, aiming their anger at incomers TVS as opposed to the IBA, who actually made the decision to award the licence.
Well, in a few minutes, the Managing Director of Southern, Mr. Frank Copplestone, will be releasing a statement to the press. That statement will say that no hasty decisions are being made about their staff or their studios. Of course, the new ITV service for the South would like to take over those purpose-built studios.
Southern would hold on to its studios until the last moment, resulting in TVS having to set up shop in porter cabins in the car park until they took over broadcasting duties. In a song featured in one of the last Southern programmes, Day by Yesterday, a special edition of Day by Day, singer Richard Stilgo takes many playful jabs at the newcomers based on this situation.
Nevertheless, tomorrow it does all change. 1982 really is a new year so far as television in this part of the world is concerned. And as befits a programme going out at the end of the old year, we thought that we ought to look forward to the new year. In a slightly irreverent way, Richard Stilgo looks forward to 1982 and the new company which will be responsible for the programmes appearing on your screen from tomorrow morning.
As you really know, their name, this firm that is waiting to take over, is Porter Cabin Television. And to close with, here is a little song about them. We're Porter Cabin TV, and we can't believe our luck to have got the bit from Channel to North Sea. To be frank, we thought the best would have been to go for Westwood or Yorkshire or or even ATV. We are Portakabin TV, our approach is fresh and new. You won't see us making shows just 'cause they pay. There'll be no more 3-2-1, and crossroads we will shun, well, at least for the first 6 months anyway. We are Portakabin TV, Gatwood, Boston and Blackstad, and on January the 1st our flags unfurled. Our future is assured, we've a lord upon the board, and someone who once did tomorrow's world. We are Portakabin TV, and the southeast of our patch is top of our list of priorities. It will be all systems go in our Maidstone studio just as soon as we find out where Maidstone is. We are Portakabin TV, and our paper's brown and cream, not that nasty southern TV white and blue. And we all say yours sincerely when we finish letters off. Hugs and kisses, Brian Izzard, just won't do. We are Portakabin TV, and we promise we will change everything so that all is new and vital. The show to alter most will be our nightly coast to coast, which is really day by day with a new title. We are Portakabin TV, and we're dropping lots of shows. I'm afraid to how we all must say goodbye, because we don't know how, but we do know when. It's now, and what people want to know is not how, but why. We are Portakabin TV, and all that's going to change is the local television station's name. We would change things if we could, but Southern was so good. We've decided to leave everything the same.
Could do worse, mind you, couldn't they?
Perhaps not the most mature way to welcome in your replacements, but not even jovial parody songs could save Southern from the end. The final few days of programming teases the final show that would air on New Year's Eve, and it's goodbye from us. At 11:45 PM, it began, hosted by none other than the cyber leader. No, I'm not joking. This is Christopher Robbie, a man of many talents, one of which was indeed playing the cyber leader in the 1975 Doctor Who story Revenge of the Cybermen. But perhaps more notably, he was a popular continuity announcer and presenter for Southern Television, and seemed like the perfect man for the job of seeing out the company's final programme.
New Year's Eve is a time for celebration and not for lament. So essentially a light-hearted look back at some of our achievements.
Christopher introduces a montage of some of Southern Television's history, including clips from many of its programmes, accompanied by a quite beautiful original piece of music, Southern Fantasia.
Southern Fantasia, composed specially for us by Jonathan Burton and played there with their customary panache by the Bournemouth Sinfonietta. And I think we should take this moment to thank the Bournemouth Sinfonietta, thank their conductor, Owain Arwell Hughes.
Did he say Owain Hughes?
Owain Hughes. And before you ask, no, I don't.
After some more musical highlights from the likes of Grace Kennedy and Cliff Richard, and celebrity appearances from Robert Hardy and Alec Guinness, I think one of the most poignant moments plays out. It comes from singer Lillian Watson, who sings a melody of goodbye songs beautifully introduced by Christopher Robbie.
She's going to sing a selection of songs to suit the occasion. Miss Lillian Watson.
Then it's time to truly say goodbye.
Goodbye songs from Lillian Watson, because it's goodbye time. We said at the start we'd come to celebrate, and I think we have. We've enjoyed remembering, and I'm sure you won't forget. So with a final farewell smile from those southern people who've become, for many of you, true friends, it's goodbye from us.
Christopher Robbie once again delivers a gentle but very touching farewell message to all of the Southern viewers who were watching that New Year's Eve night. As the Southern Fantasia blazes out, the camera pans across several of the most prominent people at the station, many of whom audiences will have become familiar with on their day-to-day TV viewing. As the music builds to a grand finale, the lights begin to dim, as audiences bid goodbye to the people and Southern itself, after more than 20 years on the airwaves. The iconic ident is seen for the last time, amidst a starry sky. Would viewers hear that familiar jingle one last time? Of course they would. But with that, Southern television was no more. For the year was now 1982, and it was time for Television South to take the reins and make good on their pitch to both the IBA and to the millions who would be watching.
Good morning. It's New Year's Day 1982, and this is Television South, TVS, the new independent television company that's proud to serve both the south and southeast of England. To begin with, we bring in the new with, for the first time, our symbol, which will soon become very familiar.
Throughout the remainder of the 1980s, TVS would grow from strength to strength, both in its output of programming and in revenue. Despite coming to battle with the bigger companies of the ITV network regarding their influence and control, the fledgling newcomer was able to work its way up in the ranks, ultimately earning more advertising revenue in a year than Yorkshire Television, one of the most well-known and largest companies within the ITV network. This didn't mean untold success forever, as in the summer of 1988, TVS would acquire MTM Enterprises, founded and owned by American actress Mary Tyler Moore. The sum paid for this company was a whopping £190 million, a sum that many within the industry felt was grossly overvalued. Due to issues within the US syndication market, as well as other costly write-offs, TVS soon turned from a financial powerhouse within the network to one that was in trouble. Profits for 1989 were down by 35%, jobs were being cut left, right and centre, and all of this was happening at perhaps the worst possible time. As the world was due to enter the 1990s, TVS would have to fight for its right to broadcast in the region, as another franchise round was looming overhead.
The proposal is in the new broadcasting bill published today, which contains plans for sweeping changes to television and radio. The government says that the plans will mean more choice for the viewer. Critics say quality will suffer.
In 7, 6, 5.
The bill promises a revolution in commercial broadcasting. The government hopes more competition will produce more choice for viewers and listeners. The most controversial proposal, that a new Independent Television Commission, or ITC, should auction ITV companies' franchises to the highest bidder. Renamed Channel 3, ITV will still have to provide regional programmes and news. In addition, bidders must promise a sufficient amount of high-quality programmes, like this drama. But money spent on buying a franchise may have to come out of programme budgets, giving viewers a worse service.
The decade kicked off with the Broadcasting Act of 1990, a document that would tear down many of the old pillars of television and the way it was run in the UK, and it would also set the tone for many years to come, particularly in production. For ITV, it meant that for the next franchise round, as well as a cash bid, certain quality thresholds had to be met by bidders to reassure the Independent Television Commission, or ITC, that they could broadcast a strong lineup of programming to the region's audiences, and have enough cash to do so. Despite the turmoil going on within the company, TVS knuckled down and produced a very comprehensive, well-researched and arguably very convincing application to put forward. However, the board of TVS, so panicked that the lucrative southern region could be lost, decided they needed to bid big. And I mean really big. All competitors had to be outbid at all costs, and after calculating how much they could put forward, the proposed sum was £59 million, which wasn't just a one-off. If successful, this is the amount TVS would have to pay every year to the ITC. This astonishing figure made it the highest ever bid put forward by a UK television broadcaster, and one that the TVS board hoped would secure its long-term future within ITV.
The Independent Television Commission has announced the winners of the new commercial television licences.
4 television stations lose their licences in the shake-up of independent television.
Good evening. The auction of commercial television licences has produced the biggest shake-up in ITV's history.
Judgment Day arrived in late 1991, when the ITC announced which companies had successfully won the right to broadcast across the various regions of the ITV network. TVS had 3 competitors for the South and South East. Carlton, who had also put in a bid for the London Weekday franchise, CPV TV, which not only had also gone for the London Weekday, but the East of England also. And finally, there was Meridian, who had submitted a £36 million bid, still far away from the £59 million offered by TVS. At the end of the day, however, the ITC ultimately decided that they believed TVS would not be able to meet the annual payment based on what they had submitted. I'm not sure what they looked over to decide this, but the overinvestments in MTM likely didn't help.
The biggest company, Thames, the most profitable company, TVAM, and the companies serving the wealthiest region, TVS, will all stop broadcasting at the end of next year, and their licences will be handed to newcomers.
TSW went down to West Country TV, TVS lost out to Meridian, and ITV's biggest company, Thames, was defeated by Carlton Television. No one survives long in the television jungle without acquiring a thick skin. Among the losers, some were lining up to announce they were taking legal action or advice, others warning their successful overbidders would soon be bust. Central managed to win the second most valuable franchise with a bid of only £2,000, whereas TVS lost their less valuable franchise despite a huge, nearly £60 million bid.
And so, TVS only had little over a year remaining before it had to hand over the keys to Meridian Broadcasting, who would take over on New Year's Day, 1993. A rather ironic circle of life, don't you think? For TVS would be bowing out in a similar manner to its predecessor, Southern Television. From what I understand, there wasn't the same level of petty squabbles from upper management towards the newcomer, but like Southern, TVS wouldn't disappear from screens quietly. As New Year's Eve came around on the 31st of December, 1992, TVS had something special lined up for its loyal viewers.
And now, from the studios of TVS, we say goodbye to all that.
Goodbye to All That was a look back at TVS's 10 years on the air, featuring a barrage of clips spanning all the different types of programmes they made, and short interviews with many of the most familiar faces, including this young man here. Yes, that is Art Attack's very own Neil Buchanan.
Lovely to see you. Thank you very much for coming. Now, you've been with TVS, golly, 12 years since the beginning?
12 years it is, yeah. And I've actually got the dubious title of being the longest-running Saturday morning presenter, so I don't know what that means.
Are you never worried about not growing up? Always doing
No, because I actually have such good fun. I mean, I've interviewed Dame Edna Everage. I've been to Buckingham Palace. I've flown on Concorde to the pyramids. It's been great fun.
There's also a fun little anecdote regarding popular game show Catchphrase.
I remember once we ran out of catchphrases. They were coming from America. Graham Williams was directing it at the time, and someone had let him down in America, and we had no catchphrases, so we start the day off, you get the contestants there and what have you, and we were just about to start game 3, and we'd absolutely, game 2, they'd gone through so many catchphrases they couldn't get right. We had none left. The computers wouldn't load, what have you, so we were waiting on motorbikes, bringing them from Gatwick and Heathrow Airport. From America. They were actually flying the catchphrases in. And one of the contestants, who was getting more and more nervous, they're brilliant, they're very up and high and what have you when they arrive in the studio, but the longer it goes on, the more nervous they become, as you know. And this chap was nipping back into the dressing room and having a little bit of Dutch courage. And he finished up legless. So then we had to send out for a reserve. And someone rang him up and said, "Are you first reserve for catchphrase for this?" He said, "Yes," but thought no more of it, went out to dig his allotment. So I had to send a car for him, go and find his allotment, bring him in. In the meantime, the motorbike broke down with all the catchphrases. We had to send a car out for that as well.
I don't believe it.
So we got back into the studio. Within 17 minutes of starting, the chap from the allotment had won £2,600 on a holiday to Jamaica.
You're joking.
Yeah, so he did well.
Hosted by Firm Britain and regional stalwart Fred Dinage, anyone who had come to love TVS's output would have been completely satisfied with Goodbye to All That.
Now, I don't know why they specially asked me to introduce this bit, but we really couldn't end without remembering one or two occasions when we were slightly less than perfect.
How tough is toughened glass?
Well, if you like, I'll show. This is a piece of toughened glass. I'll show you with this hammer.
Go on.
It's guaranteed, isn't it?
This is a door that's never locked, because it has no lock. A door that is always open to a house that will turn no one away. It's called St. Dismas, and it tells a remarkable story. A story of a man's faith in his fellow men and his love and care for them. His name is Father Andrew McMahon, and I'm just going in to talk to him. Well, I will in a minute.
And that's all for this week. Next time we report on why the Hampshire watercress line now stretches all the way to the Argyle. In the meantime, I've looked through the tractor hire catalogue and found a tractor to suit my needs for the weekend. So I'm off now to tour the estate. See you in 2 weeks' time.
So we put John on the F-Plan high-fibre diet, and 6 months later, he's lost 5 stone, as I found out when I visited him at his shop in Newport on the Isle of Wight.
What? They've just arrested that bloke.
What bloke, Constable?
You know, the one that's going around upsetting children and annoying their parents.
Come on, Mr.
Whack-a-day, whack-a-day, whack-a-day. Ooh, cool.
But as with all good things, they must always come to an end.
This winter I've actually had to try and find myself some alternative employment again, which means I'm sorry I can't be with you here tonight to help celebrate this wake, but at least the best I can do is wish you all well. Hope you find some good fortune in the future.
Hello, it's my birthday today. It's also Simon Wiesenthal's. I'm sure he would love to join me in wishing everyone at TVS a very, very happy new year. And God bless and thanks for everything. Thanks for a great opportunity. Cheers. Hey, this is real, you know. This is real. Good old TVS. Classy act.
Thanks for over 100 TV weeklies with TVS. It's been great, and I've worked with some lovely people. So to all of them and all of you, have a happy new year.
Well, it looks as though I haven't entirely lost the magic touch, even without the tough. Cheers to TVS. 3 wonderful seasons. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it's awfully sad that you're finishing up. God bless.
Ladies and gentlemen, there are now just a few seconds remaining to us before TBS hands over the right to broadcast to the south and southeast of England. We would like to take the opportunity on behalf of the chairman and board of TBS to say a few very sincere words of thanks.
Yes, and first of all, a very big thank you to all the shareholders who put their money behind the company.
To all the advertisers who made the whole thing possible.
To all the suppliers who kept the company going.
To all the people who've appeared on camera to inform and indeed entertain us.
And to all the extremely talented and creative people all here tonight who've laboured behind the scenes on all the programmes.
And above all, to you at home. Thank you for all your interest, your support and your time.
You've been a wonderful audience, and Meridian are very lucky to have you. So on behalf of everyone here at TVS, goodbye, have a great new year, and thanks for watching. Cheers!
Happy New Year!
With a cheers to the audience, TVS bowed out after 10 years of broadcasting to the region. A special caption displayed underneath their symbol, bidding viewers a final farewell. Compared to the way Southern bowed out, this is a much more celebratory affair, isn't it? From the word go, everything about the programme is jovial, upbeat, with a fond sense of looking back and smiling rather than doom and gloom. I feel Southern tried to do this back in 1981, but the way the whole thing ended, as tender and as emotional as it was, it did scream more of a funeral than it did of a party. Whereas with TVS, even down to the last minute, the hosts, the guests, and I'm sure the audiences are leaving with smiles on their faces and a fond sense of remembrance. But as TVS made its goodbye, just like 10 years before, it was time for the new kid to step onto the block. Meridian Broadcasting would be a new name to the ITV network, and in its first few minutes, like any newcomer, it made its pitch to viewers about what they could expect from their new independent television franchise holder.
Hello, I'm Debbie Thrower and welcome to 1993 and a double celebration. This magnificent cathedral was completed 900 years ago this year, and your new ITV station, Meridian, has been on air now for a little over 9 seconds. You'll see plenty that's familiar on Meridian and some exciting new ideas. Programmes that give you a chance to air your views, that reflect the rich variety of different people's lives in the south, the southeast and, for that matter, the Channel Islands. You'll find ITV is set to become more accessible to people. What's more, the region will be split in 3. So for the first time, viewers in the Thames Valley and North Hampshire will have their own news service.
Their introductory programme, littered with well wishes from celebrities and comments from the public alike, is well produced and actually quite wholesome in parts.
No matter what colour, creed or race they are.
What I want for New Year is an umbrella.
A greener world.
Just peace and happiness. That's all I want.
Your girlfriend?
No fires.
Good health.
Lion.
A house Sophie.
I would like peace in Yugoslavia. And I would like Disneyland in England.
Oops. I just want to be happy, that's all.
And your house.
Oh yeah, and I'm buying a house, so I want that as well.
I've got a baby on the way, so I just hope everything goes well.
Oops.
That my kids grow up into decent citizens.
Oh, I know.
God bless.
Good, I'd like people to be less hopeless. I worry about them.
I'd like to see England win the test matches in India.
A little bit more money for my children.
I want to get my degree. I hope to pass my exams.
I'm hoping to have the first baby of the new year.
A new sister.
More babies.
No, I don't need more babies.
I have babies. My dad's.
Come out of this recession. Long walks with my dog. Right, Vicky?
Luck.
Leave elephants alone.
To marry the lady I'm with.
I'd like all animal cruelty stopped.
Happiness for my family and myself. I'd like to be tall.
I wouldn't want a new bike.
Personally, I would like world peace.
There's not much I want, actually. I got what I have here.
There's also this random part about you being able to bring more alcohol back from abroad. These are clearly big priorities for Brits in the year 1993.
There's good reason to be here this New Year's Day. Until just a couple of minutes ago, this was all the booze you could bring home from the continent. But from now on, you can bring back 88 more litres of wine and over double the quantity of beer, about 110 litres to be precise. Only don't drink it all at once.
Good morning. It's New Year's Day 1982, and this is Television South, TVS.
When all was said and done, TVS's decade on air, like many broadcasting companies, was marked with ups and downs. It began as a fresh-faced entity, ready to compete with the big boys. After reaching their level and even outplaying some of them, at least financially, had it not been for those costly investments, there's argument to suggest that TVS could have remained in post beyond 1992. But as history played out, it wasn't to be.
In the south of England, TVS put in the highest bid, but the Commission decided they couldn't afford it and awarded the licence to Meridian Broadcasting.
And at least, compared to their predecessor, they chose to bow out with a cheerful smile and a wave, as the next phase of the ITV network was about to begin.
Meridian.
The final close down of a television channel is something of a lost art these days. In recent years, when channels have bid us farewell, we're lucky if we even get a quick montage before the ominous caption slide telling us that this service is no longer in operation. However, back in the heady days of television, such occasions could be marked by elaborate fanfares. We've seen how celebratory Television South was when it waved its final goodbye at the end of 1992, and just over a decade prior, we saw the polar opposite with its predecessor, Southern Television. The sombre tones and overall doom and gloom feel painted a downbeat picture of the occasion, but was still presented as its own special event. This happened right at the end of 1981, and at the same time, further north, another well-known staple was equally bidding its viewers a final farewell. Associated Television, or ATV as it was most commonly known, was one of the first companies to obtain an independent television licence and get up and running, launching its service, initially serving the London region on the weekends, on the 24th of September 1955, just 2 days after ITV as a whole began transmissions with associated rediffusion. A few months later, in the February of 1956, it began a service in the Midlands, operating on weekdays. Throughout the remainder of the 50s and into the 60s, audiences in both regions became familiar with the name, and particularly its logo. The ATV-I, as it's become known, definitely draws some inspirations and parallels from the logo of the Columbia Broadcasting System, or CBS, over in the United States. Legend has it that Lou Grade, the head honcho of ATV, designed the logo himself whilst returning home on a transatlantic flight. Makes for a good story, doesn't it? 1968 would see some massive upheavals across the ITV network, and ATV was no exception to that. It would lose its London Weekend franchise, its replacement being named London Weekend, funnily enough. However, its Midlands contract was not only renewed, but extended to cover all 7 days of the week. With the introduction of colour television coming around shortly after, ATV would continue to produce and distribute classic programmes that have gone on to become legendary. Chief amongst them was The Muppet Show, a huge hit and huge gamble paid off for Lou Grade, who famously took a chance on Jim Henson and his Muppets when several other broadcasters turned him away. Another hit was the soap opera Crossroads, which had been on the go since the 60s. Several days a week, viewers in their millions would tune into the antics happening at the Crossroads premises, often spearheaded by its leading star, Noel Gordon. However, despite some major successes, all was not well within ATV as the 1970s neared their end. Each ITV licence holder has a duty to provide a certain degree of local programming tailored to audiences in the region that they serve. ATV, despite operating in the Midlands for over 20 years, was frequently criticised for its lack of said programming, or more specifically, for seemingly ignoring specific parts of the Midlands, a common accusation being that there was a focus on Birmingham and not much else. The Independent Broadcasting Authority, or IBA, had decided that enough was enough. Citing the lack of local programming and the fact that ATV held studios in London, a byproduct from its weekend franchise days, the IBA determined that a new company apply for the Midlands franchise, have television facilities for both the east and west of the region, and be based and operate from the region entirely. With that in mind, Grade & Co., hoping to maintain the licence in some form, created a shell company known as ATV Midlands Limited. They applied for the licence and indeed won it, though there were several conditions imposed, one of them primarily being to rename the company. Once everything was agreed, it would mean that ATV, one of the elder statesmen of the ITV network, and known by many millions even outside of its region, would be closing down for good.
Good morning. This is ATV, which provides your programmes on the Midlands transmitters of the Independent Broadcasting Authority.
The moment would arrive on New Year's Eve 1981, the final day of programmes for ATV. Keep in mind that when we looked at Southern's demise, which happened at the same time, the final programme was one of mourning, a sense of losing something that people held dear, even though a fair few of the staff would stay on as TVS took over. Would ATV deliver something similar? Something for their audiences who had been tuning in day after day for a quarter of a century? Well, not quite.
Here's the regional weather forecast for New Year's Day.
After a final weather bulletin, an old familiar face for ATV viewers appears to bid one final farewell.
And that's the weather forecast for the ATV region. And you know, it's funny that tonight it's the last time I'm going to be saying ATV, because as from now we're Central. And it's appropriate that this evening, popping in for a New Year's Eve drink, Shaw Taylor, because Shaw was one of the first announcers with ATV back in the mid-1950s.
Yes, you can, when my hair was almost as silver as yours.
I see. Now, Shaw, are you just a little bit sad this evening that the name ATV is fading out?
Because they were marvellous days. You know, ATV's been very much part of my life over the years. Police 5, 20 years, ATV even longer. And there used to be Jeannie Morton was an announcer here, and Peter Coburn, Arthur Adair. The four of us used to split it up between us. So, yes, I am. I'm very sad to see ATV disappearing. But by the same token, I'm very excited at what Central promises. In other words, the split franchise, new studios in Nottingham, exciting things like that. I should get 2 Police 5s now, twice as much time. With a bit of luck, we'll catch twice as many villains. And the whole sort of news coverage expanding. It's a very exciting prospect. So I truly do say I'm sad to see ATV go, but I'm very excited at saying welcome to Central.
I think this is a lovely inclusion. Shaw Taylor, an original announcer from the early days, giving a short but succinct appreciation for ATV as a whole, with goodwills and hopes for the future. It's not a farewell programme in itself, but at least it doesn't feel like we're attending a funeral. With that out of the way, comes the final bit of continuity announcing before close down, and surely we can expect perhaps a similar, short but sweet tribute for ATV.
Indeed, welcome to Central, and of course the most important thing this evening, Shaw, to everyone at home, a very happy 1982. Happy New Year. New Year's Eve celebrations continue now on independent local radio. There are 3 stations within our area broadcasting through the night: BRMB in Birmingham, Beacon in Wolverhampton and Trent serving Nottingham. And tonight, Mercia in Coventry and Centre Radio in Leicester are on the air until 1 o'clock. The time now, 32 minutes and 53 seconds past midnight. Have a peaceful night, and I hope you enjoy New Year's Day.
Nope, absolutely nothing. Just announcements regarding which radio stations are going to be on the air overnight, a Happy New Year for 1982, and that's it. Cue National Anthem. And with the closing notes of God Save the Queen, viewers bid goodbye to the ATVI for the very last time. For when they would wake later that New Year's Day, it wouldn't be an eye that would greet them, but more of a moon, shall we say, and a brand new name to go with it. And right from the very beginning, it made its intentions very clear.
Welcome to 1982. Welcome to Central. A new name in British television, with a fresh approach to the east and west of this dual region.
A trailer reel follows highlighting some of the programmes that will be appearing on Central, including one fronted by future Who Wants to Be a Millionaire host Chris Tarrant.
Now we all know Chris Tarrant, and he's responsible, if that's the word, for a new programme called OTT. It's a new approach to entertainment, and he seems to be just the right man for the job. That's late night viewing for all the older kids amongst us.
Following that, we get a short little interlude regarding the identification symbol that Central uses.
And our team of announcers will always keep you informed of programmes to come. This is the symbol that identifies Central. And the specially written new music you're hearing is the music that will open and close Central every day. This is Central.
I quite like this little segment. It may seem unnecessary nowadays, but there's something strangely comforting about hearing an announcer talk about the channel's logo and music and the role it'll play within daily operations. More trailers follow, and this one about the news teams is quite interesting to note.
At 6, our central news teams will be bringing you the fastest, freshest, most up-to-date coverage of the day's events from the East and the West.
Considering how ATV was constantly criticised for its lack of local coverage, particularly across East and West, it's refreshing to see Central tackle that criticism head-on, reassuring viewers that no matter where they resided in the Midlands, they would be covered by the new service and its news teams.
And here now, your programmes for this morning, with our feature film, Digby, the biggest dog in the world, at 9:55.
After a look at the morning's lineup, it all ends with quite a defining line to kick things off.
Welcome to 1982. Welcome to Central. And welcome to our morning programmes.
And thus, Central was the new name in town, taking over ATV operations and going on to be the name for a whole new generation of viewers in the Midlands. And that was truly it for ATV. Whilst the name has lived on in some form or another, the initial end to what was considered to be one of the big hitters of the ITV network is surprisingly low-key. We get that nice little tribute from Shaw Taylor, who had been around at the beginning of the company, but aside from those kind words, nothing else really marks what was the end of an era after 25 years. There could be many reasons as to why, chief amongst them perhaps that initially, Central was essentially the same company that had been behind ATV, so for them, a continuity was carried over. This wasn't to last, mind you, and even Lou Grade would lose his grip, but initially, if the team behind the operations wasn't making much of a fuss about the transition, then why should they hype it up for the public? Of course, it's nice and fascinating for us now to look back on special close-down programmes like those put on by Southern, TVS and even Thames, a wonderful glimpse into eras of television coming to a close. But for ATV, it seems like the mantra had been to pay a humble tribute, close down as normal, and get the new name and service up and running as swiftly and as fuss-free as possible. Central would go on to have a prosperous life in the ITV network, and like I said, it's known and adored by the many who remember and grew up with it. But for an equal amount of people, when it comes to talking about ITV in the Midlands, the first name that will often come up would be Associated Television. That ATV, with the I logo and blaring fanfare to boot. Thank you to our patrons for helping to support the show, and a special thank you to Macra, Shaun Knock, Daud Khan, Ethan Carberry-Holt, Liam Domain, AJ Mac 200017, Jen, Traffy, Mr. Eurovision 1986, Evan Hart 42 Radio, Tim Ripley, 40-something Manchild, Mr. J McLeod, James Wallace, Ben, Stephen Oliver, Shadowfiend 180X, Swan Ronson, Adam Gamer, Sir Fonzie Daz, Matthew Elliff, Pigeon's House, Seraphic Euphoria, Dave Batten, Kevin Mallon, Shah H, Liam Turner, Real Team Foxy Plays, Jenny T, Lovely Dave and Jem, Tyler McLean 316, NJ on DT 84, Jimmy the Bantam, and the Macabre Tavern, our AMTV staff members.